Hello, I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shade. Let's talk a little tropics, shall we? We are keeping things quiet in the Gulf for now. I'll give you an update on a tropical wave that rolled into the eastern Caribbean. Will it survive? Will it impact us? And of course, I'll have an update on our tropical storm of the moment. That would be Tropical Storm Fernand out in the central Atlantic. Before we get to all of that, let's talk about where we are in this 2025 Atlantic Basin hurricane season. Well, we are about 16 days away from the historical peak of this hurricane season, which would be right around September 10th. So we've been fairly fortunate so far. We haven't had anything head our way too strong, and we've only had one major hurricane so far this season, but things could get active and unsettled in a hurry, so you never want to let your guard down. So you see that we are here around the last week or so of August, and we are getting close to September 10th, and notice that huge spike in tropical activity. Name storms and hurricanes right around the first couple of weeks of September. Even the first week or two of October is typically pretty busy before we kind of start to wind things down as we get closer to November. So we've only had 6 named storms and only one hurricane. That was Aaron, which of course blew up to a category 5 briefly and brought a lot of impacts to parts of the U.S. East Coast last week, even though it never officially made landfall. So we've gotten rid of Aaron. We now have Tropical Storm Fernand in the central Atlantic, and the next name on the list would be Gabrielle and then Umberto. So do we have a chance of either one of these systems popping up? Well, right now the chance is extremely low. We do have Tropical Storm Fernand. Let's start off with this one. It is churning out there in the central Atlantic. It did get a little bit stronger today. Winds increased to 60 miles per hour from 50 miles per hour, and it is looking pretty decent right now. Not super strong, not super weak, kind of in between, but it is still a fairly healthy tropical storm with 60 mile per hour winds, and you can see Bermuda here, so it is already to the north and east of Bermuda. So pressure at 1,000 millibars, moving fairly quickly to the north-northeast around 14 miles per hour. So here's the good news with Fernand. Notice the track. It is moving away from the U.S., away from Canada, so it is not going to be a problem for the U.S. Really, it's not going to be a problem for any land area. It's basically going to be what we call a fish storm. It's not going to hit any land, and it should actually fall apart and lose its tropical characteristics pretty quickly by Wednesday, likely an extratropical system as it continues to weaken. So really, Fernand, a non-story. I don't think we'll have to worry too much about it because it's going to stay out over the open waters. All right, let's switch to our next system. This cluster of disorganized showers and storms in the eastern Caribbean. Now, last week there was a medium chance for this developing into something that could have been concerning as far as a tropical system, but the National Hurricane Center looked at this and said, hey, this does not look organized at all. Looks kind of raggedy. It moved into an environment with a lot of shear and just other factors really hindering it from developing, and so now the chance for this tropical wave to develop is all the way down to near 0%. So bottom line, tropical wave in the eastern Caribbean. You can see the clusters of showers and storms there south of Puerto Rico, south of Hispaniola. However, it is not going to develop into any type of tropical depression or tropical storm. It did move into a more unfavorable environment, and that's pretty much the end of that system. So we'll have to wait a little bit longer for the G named storm and the H named storm, because right now that is all the action that we have out there. We've been monitoring this Saharan dust over the first few months of this hurricane season, and over the last few weeks, as expected, a lot of the dark brown that you see, the thicker dust, kind of starting to thin out and disperse. So that will allow a more favorable environment for additional tropical development over the next few weeks. Usually when we get rid of a lot of that thick, dusty air, that means these systems can kind of develop and thrive a little longer, because that dusty air is very dry air and that hinders development. So I do think we will start to see more action, especially as we get close to the beginning of September. Water temps across the Atlantic, the Caribbean, the Gulf have been super warm and toasty, steamy all season long. We've got water temps in the Gulf near 90 for many spots. It is steamy water as well across the western and southwestern Atlantic. So the stage is set for more development. That's why I never want you to let your guard down. It may be quiet now, but things could get active in a hurry. For the last week or so of August, we are monitoring the central Atlantic, western Atlantic. Those are going to be the areas where we have the highest risk for more development, and also the Gulf, an above average chance. Really, in September, western Atlantic will be the most likely region for this tropical development. So we're keeping an eye on it, but the good news is that there's nothing to worry about for us here in Houston right now. Over into the eastern Pacific, I briefly want to mention Tropical Storm Juliet has formed. It's moving west-northwest away from Mexico, but looking fairly organized now, and actually expected to strengthen to a Category 1 hurricane by Tuesday. But the good news here, it stays west of Cabo. It's not going to make landfall in any part of Mexico, and it should stay out over the water, and it should weaken back down to a 40-mile-per-hour system by Thursday. So I don't expect any major impacts from Juliet. Finally, let's check out your cruise forecast. Maybe you are hopping on a cruise ship heading to Nassau, Bahamas this weekend. That is certainly a popular cruise destination. Right now, it looks like there may be some spotty showers and storms for you Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon. Sunday looking a little bit drier, but of course this time of the year there will be plenty of heat and humidity, and those temperatures will be near 90 degrees. So not horrible weather, but just plan on some of those pop-up afternoon and evening downpours if you are going to be vacationing that way. Well, that would do it for your tropical update for today. The good news is that there's nothing heading towards southeast Texas or anywhere along the Gulf Coast now, but of course don't let your guard down. Stay alert. We're heading towards the busiest portion of hurricane season historically, so things could get popping in a hurry. So make sure you're prepared, review your hurricane gear, make sure you have everything you need, and keep checking back with us daily.